is an epic 2008 level crash headed our way in Maricopa County? I am Lindsay Fricks with the Lindsay Fricks Group at North&CO, and I'm here with your February market update. Let's dive right in. Lately, there have been a ton of clickbait headlines swirling around predicting 20-30% dramatic declines within Phoenix market. And here's what I'm here to tell you. Although things change radically all the time, there is absolutely not a single leading or lagging indicator right now that is going to suggest that that is where we are headed. And let me tell you why. So what we normally see this time of year is an increased amount of listings, and we just haven't seen the inventory come to market like we have in the past. So even though supply is down versus last year and versus our normal, and demand is also down versus our normal and last year, demand is still above supply, which is creating this kind of baby sellers market, if you will, where sellers are gaining back some traction. And so we see that there are more showings, more pre-qualification happening with mortgage lenders. We're seeing more homes go under contract. We're seeing the listing inventory go down. And that is having the result of giving the buyers a little bit more competition when they're going to offer on homes right now. Let's talk about things from a macroeconomic level. So one of the reasons why we're seeing all these doom and gloom reports is because a lot of people are misinterpreting the federal funds rate as being very interrelated or directly correlated to mortgage rates, when in fact that's just not the case. So the federal funds rate is the amount of interest that banks charge each other for overnight lending. Although it is somewhat correlated to mortgage rates, sometimes they actually perform opposite. So for example, this last week we had a good inflation report, which then kind of sent interest rates moving down. But then we were quickly followed by an unemployment report that showed significant job creation within our market, which isn't good for when the Fed is trying to get the economy to slow down so inflation can get under control. And now we're seeing the mortgage rates kind of respond differentially by going up. So don't misinterpret what the Fed is doing to be what mortgage rates are. They are a little bit more disconnected than one would think. So don't get confused by that. And if you're confused by everything I said, the one key takeaway here is the federal funds rate, and when the Fed raises interest rates, does not necessarily directly correlate to what mortgage rates are doing. Capiche? If you're a seller, all of this news should be music to your ears. All of the leading indicators are moving in your direction. Now, if you bought a home prior to 2022, you probably are sitting on a very low interest rate. And so that means that selling may not look enticing if you have to buy another property at today's interest rates, which are hovering right around 6%. But it could be a good time because we're seeing this baby sellers market mean that you're having to give less away in concessions, you're getting closer to asking price, and the overall process of selling is just becoming a lot easier again, where it has been very difficult over the last 8 months. So if you are considering selling because you need to downsize, upsize, move out of state, whatever the needs are, it might be a good time to start re-exploring that. If you've been sitting on the fence and thinking, maybe I'll just wait until it's a better time, now could be that time. If you're a buyer, this may not seem like great news for you, but here's what the good news is that interest rates have been stabilizing and hovering right around 6%, and people are no longer afraid of that. People are normalizing to that. It's not as scary anymore, and you realize that compared to historical interest rate numbers, 6% is still pretty dang good. So what you really need to know is that there is more competition. The good inventory, the homes that are move-in ready or updated or have a ton of pride of ownership are going really fast. And so your negotiating power that we talked about over the last 8 months is diminishing rapidly by the day. So if you are thinking of buying, I would definitely consider getting in there sooner than later, because I predict that if interest rates come down below 6%, at any point this year, we are going to see a flood of pent-up demand come back into the market, and we are going to experience the 2020 through 2022 epic demand come flooding back, and a lot more competition. So now maybe a small window where we're in just a baby seller's market that you can still get a great house at a great price with some negotiating power left. But I am seeing sellers less willing to contribute to closing costs and rate buy downs. And I'm seeing a lot of multiple offers on the great inventory. So you do have to come prepared with your A game like you're going to be competing for properties right now. I'm not seeing a ton of bidding well over ask, but it is important to note that there is definitely more competition and you need to be prepared that you're not going to be able to, in a lot of cases, ask significantly lower than list price and ask for a significant amount of seller contributions. Now, there is a lot of inventory that is kind of stagnant and stale on the market right now. And I wouldn't shy away from looking into those because they're probably just priced wrong, which is why they're sitting on the market. And so you could potentially, with something that's been on the market maybe since November or December, slide in and be able to negotiate a great deal under asking and still get some seller contributions. You're likely looking at properties that are maybe a little bit more distressed and need a little bit more work. But if you're willing to take that on, there are a lot of good opportunities out there to still slide into homes at a really great value.